Luca was good, but was it great? I'm Jedi Mike 7, and this is going to be my review of Disney's Pixar's Luca. Okay, so here go on to Disney's Pixar's Luca. This film, I know this film came out a few weeks prior to this being uploaded. However, I wanted to let it sink in just for a while, just to see my overall thoughts and opinions about this film, and so I can give a more critical point of view. Again, this is going to be a non-spoiler review of this film. If anything, it's going to be just a video also targeting to some audience who also are parents. If this a movie is actually something that you want to watch with your child, I'm gonna go in depth about that for a little bit. But yeah, let's go on with let's go on with the review. So, Disney's Pixar's Luca, set in a beautiful seaside town in Italy, Riviera. The original animated feature is a coming of age story about one young boy experiencing an unforgettable summer filled with gelato pasta, endless scooters rides, and Luca shares these adventures with his newfound best friend. But all found is threatened by a deeply held secret. He is a sea monster from another world just below the water surface. So this basically is film directed by Enrico Casarosa. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. But yeah, this screenplay is by Jesse Andrews and Mike Jones. So this film is basically going to the concept of targeting two characters. One, the main character, obviously, of Luca, and another one, Alberto. This is basically going into the story just about another coming of age story of basically a story, a fairy tale about sea monsters, and once they reach land, then they basically become human. And however, Luca's character, he basically doesn't ever come out of the ocean. His parents are protective and scared of him because they think sea monsters are basically a bad rep. They're dangerous creatures to the surface dwellers, if you could call them. And then, but Luca's also been looking up to the ocean floor and looking up to the horizon, seeking that was be a life outside the ocean, outside where he'd been living. And then once he got out, he's basically find another um, character you meet throughout the film, and basically throughout the film, he basically developed a friendship between these two characters. Alberto is voiced by Jack Dylan Grazer, and the main character, Luca, is voiced by Jacob Tremblay. And basically, throughout the whole film, it's just basically a bunch of silly body humor going back and forth, but just fact hiding their identity, hiding their secret. But Alberto is basically is the more adventurous type, while Luke is more the reserved and nervous type and scared. One scared of his secret coming out from his parents, finding out that he's outside the ocean and on land on the surface. And basically, you see them developing a relationship as friends, and as he's trying to learn just the existence of life more, and accepting and trying to grow out of his shell and be more confident, going on adventures. And basically, throughout this film, they keep going into this concept of this Vespa that they're trying to go out to the real world and just go on to these adventures. But lo and behold, uh, they get into trouble with some sacred villagers with wield spears and harpoons, and who basically have a bad rep about these sea creatures. And I thought to say that this film, even though I felt it was good overall, I felt that the story was basically not that hard to understand. To me, it was really basic, which I guess I can say is one of my criticisms about this film. Being a Pixar film, usually this is film as Pixar develop any storylines that have anything that about life lessons, i.e., Incredibles giving you the lessons of a middle-aged man in a who's past his prime, but now is a father of family and struggling with the job and going through basically a midlife crisis. Even though it's for targeting a young audience, obviously the story is for adults to really understand. And that's one of my favorite Disney Pixar films, amongst others like Toy Story, Monsters Inc. Um, Another one that recently that came out with Jamie Foxx called Soul. However, this film is to me is really, I feel, is kind of basic. I feel like it was good. However, it didn't really feel a groundbreaking thing where it's almost monumental hit, and I feel like it's almost unlike the other Pixar films that I just mentioned. I feel like this film was kind of really was basic, even though it gave us a different perspective of the cultures of Italy. I thought that might be very interesting for people to see, even though going back into a very going back from English also to Italian, it was very understandable. And I felt that that this being a coming age story, to me, I felt this film kind of really was predictable as me knowing not only just the active of common age, coming of age stories, but also just knowing of Disney itself. I feel like Disney this film kind of felt was predictable in terms of some of the things that are happening, and going as these two friends learn to go on this wild adventure, learn the true meaning of friendship. However, I gotta say that in this film that I felt that one of the things that they did very well was going to the relationship between Alberto and Luca, and seeing the duality of these two characters as just as basic these two friends going and to go on these adventures as we've seen many films in the past with this type of trope. However, I want to say that one of the things that I felt that this film reminded me of in terms of comparing it to another Disney Pixar film was actually The Good Dinosaur. See, The Good Dinosaur was like again was fine. However, it didn't do any groundbreaking things and messages that actually felt moved me as audience watching this film. I felt it was kind of like I said, basic, not really what on the par what Disney Pixar films usually do. Like for example, Up, just like the first 5 minutes of Up, people are basically in tears of going through the life story of the two characters. And I felt like this with this film, one thing that I encourage with parents to do is that this film does give you a life lesson. It does talk about one about not judging a book by its cover, regardless where any person comes from. However, parents and kids who watch this film together, they'll be able to discuss the movie's appealing setting and its themes, particularly the importance of evaluating others for who they are, not because of their background or heritage. And I think that this is film that's the bulk of what this film is really about. As we see in Italy, one of the things I felt the tropes of this was I felt was reminding me of Ratatouille, which is one of my favorite Pixar films. And given that culture of Paris and everything of France, I felt that in this movie as well. So it was a nice just breath of fresh air. However, I think that as I mentioned, not to say that this is one of my cons about the movie, saying this film is basic, but it's also just another question to ask: is that does it need to be groundbreaking? I feel like every Pixar film, I feel like they raise the bar to a point where it's almost automatically expected that we think that it's going to be giving us a life lesson that we'll be talking for hours and hours and hours, or maybe days with our children about or instead of just being what it is, it's just a good, decent film for our family to watch. And I think that film does it justice. I don't think this film was horrible. I don't think this film was any way bad. I just felt, other than some side characters, it's just one note, stereotypical mustache twirling villain or bully. But then also the one point of film, not to give any spoilers anyway, but just to a point where people are usually resolving their conflict just so easily and able to accept when in the beginning of the film everyone's just so angry and so vengeful to killing these sea monsters and everything. So I felt that some of that really wasn't really conveyed effectively in my opinion. But I do think this is a film that I think that parents will love to show to your children. Like I get going to the theme of the film, which is basically valuing uh the importance of valuing others and for who they are, not because of their background or heritage. I think this film goes into that, and it also talks about friendship as well. Usually at a young age, and even though as me being older, I'm still seeing this trope again and again and again, and still learning some lessons along the way when I'm watching these Disney Pixar films. But yet, I must say that this film, even though it wasn't, as like I said, wasn't bad, but wasn't the best Pixar film, to my opinion. I feel Soul is a 10 times better film than this. And I feel that again, I think family parents were able to see, uh, able to watch this film with their children and have a good time. As I think this was the purpose of this film. But I'm gonna give my overall score of this film be a 5 out of 10. This was not the most memorable Disney Pixar film. Obviously, there's like I mentioned before, there was maybe 4 or 5 more. Wally, Toy Story. Now, is it better than Cars? Maybe. But one thing I do think that this film was did very well was just give a nice breath of fresh air, just in terms of representing a different aspect of culture of Italy that we have normally have not seen a lot in, especially in Disney Pixar films. So like I said, I'm gonna give this film a Luca a 5 out of 10. This is a film that I feel that parents should show their children. We have a good time. Just show their kids and everything, but it basically is a good movie, basic but wasn't great, in my opinion. But that's going to conclude the end of this video. Again, my name is Jedi Mike 7. Make sure you hit the subscribe button when you end of this video. Again, you can subscribe to Jedi Mike 7 on Instagram and YouTube, and I'll be back with another video. Thank you guys. It's been a minute. I was kind of under the weather this past week, so we got a ton of new content coming soon. And so, guys, ask you to be patient and get ready for what's coming. And I'm very excited for this month of July. A lot of content that we have coming up soon. So, thank you again. My name is Jedi Mike 7. Until next time, bye bye.